Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the final math suggestion class of Icon Academy for the Cadet College Admission Test 2025. So in this class, we will be giving you a final math suggestion for this year's Cadet College Admission Test exam. And for this, we have categorized the suggestion into three main categories. One is 3-star, that is topics you must know, and the other one is 2-star, that is topics you should know, and the final one is 1-star, that is topics those are good to know. So before I begin, I would like to tell that please subscribe our YouTube channel and get connected to our social media platforms for such videos. Dear students, we have covered all the high impacted topics. Before we end the class, make sure to cover all the 3-star, that is must know topics, and if you have covered those topics, you have completed 80% of your preparation, and the rest is you have to go through 2-star topics, that is topics you should know, and finally you have to have a basic idea, very basic idea about 1-star topics, that is topics which are good to know. And throughout this journey, this is a very challenging journey, and we, Icon Academy, remember the journey towards Cadet College is very challenging, but with targeted focus and hard work, you can make it possible. And we, Icon Academy, are there with you to make your dreams possible. If you have any queries on this suggestion, you can drop a comment on this video, and if you want such videos, we can also make such videos for you. Thank you very much. See you. You'll get the suggestion for other subjects in this playlist. So let's begin the class. So for chapter 1, we have identified the important topics. So let's see the 3-star, that is good must know topics. So must know topics includes smallest and largest number of a given digit. So we have to find the smallest and largest number of a given digit. Second one is prime and composite numbers. Then here you go LCM and HCF, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of fraction, HCF and LCM of fraction, simplification, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of decimal fraction, HCM, LCM, HCF of decimal fraction, relation between HCF and LCM. So these topics are very important, and you can see questions from these topics have come frequently in the previous year questions. There you go, the should know topics, that is local and international system, co-prime numbers, and then divisibility rule. These are the should know topics, and finally the 1-star topics, that is these topics are good to know, that is you can go through these topics or have a basic ideas, so that in case question comes from these types of topics, you can answer the questions. Dear students, beside those topics, we have also identified some topics. Those are also very important for the Cadet College admission test, but you won't find this in your class 6 textbook. Rather, you have to look for this into other reading materials like different guides or textbook of class 7. So these are square root by prime factorization method, which is a very important topic, square root by division method, and basic concepts about square roots and squares. Okay, so let's move to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is a very crucial part for the arithmetic section of the Cadet College admission test. And if you see the previous year questions, you will see lots of questions from this chapter. So let's see what are the important topics in chapter 2. The first and foremost one is conversion of ratio to percentage and vice versa. And then we have got unitary method. So there are lots of important previous year questions from unitary method related to work and time and other issues. And the third one is mixed or compound ratio, inverse ratio. So these are 2-star topics, that is these are good. You should know these topics or have some ideas. Okay, and finally we'll see the topics you should also have some basic ideas, that is ratio of greater inequality and less inequality and equivalent ratios. From chapter 3 we have to have good ideas about number line and addition and subtraction of integers with number line, additive and multiplicative inverse, because most students often find difficulty answering questions related to additive and multiplicative inverse. And the second most important things are decrease and increase of numbers through number lines. And finally, you should have some basic ideas of concept of negative numbers, that is this one, and use of greater than, less than and equal signs. Okay, so here we go, chapter 4. So chapter 4 is a very interesting chapter. There is algebraic expression. So in chapter 4 we have segmented the entire chapter into different categories. The most important ones are the 3-star ones, that is the must know topics. So if you are acquainted with these topics, you have a very good preparation. Okay, simplification, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of algebraic expressions, similar dissimilar terms, and then meaning of algebraic expression, construction of expression from words. So it is a bit like word problems. You have to construct a word problem from a given sentence. Okay, the second most important things are the one marked with 2 stars, that is a good idea about variables, coefficients, determining number of terms. So there are many students who face difficulties in determining number of terms, and even if they determine the number of terms, they face difficulties while identifying the terms. So if there is a minus in front of the term, you have to mention that minus as well when you are describing the terms. Okay, so here are some more additional things which are important from chapter 4 if you are sitting for cadet college admission test. So let's look what are those important things. Middle term factorization. So whenever you are solving an equation, you have to know the concept of middle term. So what is middle term factorization? Middle term factorization is, suppose I am writing an equation x square minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. So here the middle term is minus 5x, and by splitting this middle term into 2 terms, you have to solve this equation. Okay, so this is a very important part of this chapter. Okay, and finally we have seen dividend, divisor, factor, multiplication, multiple, question and reminder, which sometimes is visible in the cadet college admission test question, and you have to determine the square with formulas, and also simplification is a very important part of this chapter. Now chapter 5. So chapter 5 is also a part of algebra, and chapter 5 is closely related with chapter 4, that is algebraic expression. So let's look what's there in chapter 5. So simple equation, what are the characteristics of simple equations? You have to know this properly, because often we can see that they ask for definitions of simple equations, then solution to simple equation. So often what they do, like there is a simple equation x minus 5 equals to 0, x minus 5 equals to 3. So we have to find the value of x. So often the question comes in a way, find the root of the variable, or find the solution of the equation. In all cases, whether we are finding the root of the variable or finding the solution of the equation, we have to find the value of x. Okay, and there are 3 to 4 idioms in that chapter related to there are 3 to 4 axioms in that chapter related to solving equations. We have to be very acquainted with those. Formation of equations from real life problems. So these are kind of word problems where they describe you a real life problem, and you have to present those real life problems through an equation and solve those. Okay, now let's jump into geometry. So there are 2 chapters of geometry in class 6 NCTP textbook. One is chapter 6, basic concepts of geometry. So there are 2 theorems in this chapter, theorem 1 and theorem 2, which are very, very important in terms of cadet college admission test. Besides, we can see triangles, quadrilaterals. So we have to have a very good idea about triangles, quadrilaterals and squares. So what type of questions may come from these 3 categories? like whether you have to find area of triangles, quadrilaterals or squares, or different word problems, or you might have to draw pictures with the help of construction. Okay. Besides, we have to have a very good idea regarding straight angle, adjacent angle, right angle, this part. Okay. There is one figure in your book related to parallel lines and transversal, like this. So you have to read this figure very properly, where you can get idea about complementary angles, alternate angles and others. Okay. Perpendiculars is also very important. Okay. In chapter 7 is about practical geometry, where you have to draw different figures with the help of 9 constructions. So often we have seen students who find theorems a bit difficult than constructions, and constructions are basically easy. So what you have to do, you have to know the process properly and then construct the picture or diagram of the required geometric figure. So what is important from this chapter? Constructing angles without protector. You have to construct a 15-degree angle, 30-degree angle, 45-degree angle, 60-degree, 75, 90, 120. So some of these are given in the construction of that chapter, and others are given in the activity inside the chapter. Besides, there are some topics which you should know, okay? And you should have a very good idea about all those constructions, because even if you go to higher classes, you need to know the basics of geometry. Okay, so here are some extra topics apart from the textbook which we need to know as well. So what are those topics? Those topics are theorem 1, 2, 3, 4 related to triangles. So where can we get these theorems? My suggestion would be you can go through these theorems from different supportive books, like different guidebooks, or the best solution is if you can go through the textbook of class 7, and the specific chapter is chapter 9. So in chapter 9 of class 7 you can have all these theorems, 4 theorems related to triangles. And then we have got few constructions related to triangles. Okay. Besides, there are some questions related to measurements. So what are those questions? We have to find the area of different geometric shapes, measurement of weight, measurement of volume, formula of area. So if you go through any supporting books for maths, you can find the formula of this area, or area of different geometric shapes, or volume of different geometric shapes. And in case if you need additional support, you can go through the chapter 3 of class 7 textbook, which is known as measurement. Finally, the last chapter, which is information and data. So most students enjoy this chapter a lot because this is the easiest chapter of the textbook. In this chapter, you have to have a very clear idea about the distinction between information and data, organized and unorganized data, mean, median and mode. Among this, mean is very important. Mean is basically average. Okay. Line diagram, which is you can know how to draw a line diagram, but although this has been given 1 star because there are less chances for this to come in the exam. Dear students, we have covered all the high impacted topics. Before we end the class, make sure to cover all the 3 star, that is must know topics, and if you have covered those topics, you have completed 80% of your preparation, and the rest is you have to go through 2 star topics, that is topics you should know, and finally you have to have a basic idea, very basic idea about 1 star topics, that is topics which are good to know. And throughout this journey, this is a very challenging journey, and remember, the journey towards Cadet College is very challenging, but with targeted focus and hard work you can make it possible. And we, ICANN Academy, are there with you to make your dreams possible. If you have any queries on this suggestion, you can drop a comment on this video, and if you want such videos, we can also make such videos for you. Thank you very much. See you.